Welcome, and thank you for joining us today for another episode or another podcast of the CEHD Fearless Career Questions. My name is Nicole Chappelle, and I work as the Director of Undergraduate Education in the college. And I am joined today with two career experts in our college, our Associate Director of Career Services, Denise Felder, and Dr. Michael Stebleton, a professor in organizational leadership, policy, and development. Dr. Stebleton's scholarship area is in preparing students for careers and student development. Thank you both for being here today. In our last discussion, we responded to student questions regarding a variety of topics, but most specifically related to major selection, and also how to network and how to connect to experiences that would support career development within the first year. Today, we're going to talk more specifically about internships and networking. A growing number of our first year students have interests in career related activities, but they bring up networking and internships specifically. It's important to note that often students ask about networking and internships because there's a bit of anxiety. It's a bit intimidating. Those are intimidating activities often. One of our students writes, "People keep talking about internships, but I'm just a first year student. When should I start looking for an internship? And how do I find opportunities that are actually related, to what I want to do and not just getting coffee, as an example?" What are some suggestions you have for students who might be feeling this way?
Yes, it's great that we have our first year students who are thinking about internships. And I would say when you hear the word internship, it's like, oh, I have to get an internship, it's something to talk to people about the things that I've done. Really, to think a little bit more broadly about experiences in general. So experiential learning is, often what we call it. And that includes internships,
Mm.
but it also includes volunteering. It includes part-time jobs that you've had. It can include student groups, classes that you've been in, all different types of things. So it's great to think about what type of experiences can I get that will help me get more exposure to the world of work or to gain skills that I'm going to use while I'm in college and skills that I'm going to use after college. So to think about those things and to think about there's kind of two categories, I would say. There's experiences that are going to give you exposure and give you some knowledge about the world of work. So just working in an office, if you've never worked in an office, and that might include getting coffee. But if you are getting coffee, it's not forever. It's
Right.
just for a few weeks.
Don't underestimate your ability to make good coffee.
Don't have to
It's
right.
a lifelong skill.
Yes.
It is a skill, and it'll serve you well when
Yes.
you are in the work world. But then so there's the experiences that will give you exposure. So if you want to work in schools, so you're volunteering in a school, volunteering in a clinic or a hospital, those types of things. And then there's experiences that will give you help you to gain skills in career specific skills. So if you're interested in sports management, if you're volunteering at a sports playoff that's here in town, and you're doing the actual work that you would be doing once you graduate, and you have a lot of opportunities to get a lot of different of these experiences and internships. So, as a career advisor, I always recommend people to get as many quote unquote internships as possible. And again, those might be, you volunteered for one day doing something, or you spent a whole semester. In an internship, in a formal internship.
Mm.
So to think about how to get these experiences as a first year, um, again, you might still be exploring. You may have know what you want to major in, but you may have some questions about, is this really what I want to major in? Or you're curious about something else. So don't be afraid to get an internship in something that's not related
Right.
to what it is that you want to major in. You're going to gain what we call work readiness skills or career readiness skills, and you're going to just learn more about yourself. And if you learn what you don't like, That's half the
Yeah.
battle right there.
Yes.
I have so many students come to me and say, I did XYZ, or, I had an internship at some place, or I volunteered someplace and I hated it. I'm like, that is great.
Right.
I'm really excited to
And I
hear
think
that.
we all here have had those experiences
Yes,
as well.
absolutely. Yeah, you learn a lot about yourself and what you want to do by doing something that you don't want to
Right.
do. And you've gained those skills. You're like, okay, I now know how to do that, and I know I don't want to do that.
Yes.
So you have those skills, and so if you're looking for experiences that you can build your resume with, so to speak, you can still add that to your resume and add those things to your resume. And then this the other thing, and just in terms of how do you find those things? Networking is one of the really important ways of finding those things, and I would love to talk about that, but I want to hear a little bit from Mike
Yeah.
about internships and experiential learning in general.
Yeah. Thank you, Denise. I like that idea of trying things and learning that you don't like them, because essentially you're crossing them off the list
Yeah,
then at
yeah,
that point. I have a colleague that says any type of experience has value because you're collecting data,
exactly.
right?
Right.
And I think that's what first year students need to do as they think about this broader idea of experiential learning, is to collect data about what sticks and what maybe doesn't. And I also like, Denise, that you provided a wider definition
Hmm.
of experiential learning. So there's a lot of energy, Nicole, you said, around finding an internship.
Right.
And I just want to reinforce and maybe send some relief to first year students that you don't have to have a formal internship during your first year.
Yeah.
I know in our department of OLPD, our business marketing education and HRD students have to do an applied learning experience,
Mm.
usually an internship, but that's not usually until the senior year.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I want to reinforce that students have some time before getting that formal internship
Because
experience.
the formal internships are really integrated into our majors at a very
Correct.
specific time in the curriculum.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep. And I spoke earlier about this idea of crafting experiments. Another perspective from a design angle talks about prototypes, and both experiments and prototypes are just this idea of trying different things
Mhm.
out to see if you like them or not,
Hmm.
and also reinforcing this idea of matching your interests with your skills
Right.
and also your values, which we mentioned in our first
Mhm.
episode. And so I really like this idea of getting experience, not only so you can put that on your resume, which is important,
Yep.
but also encouraging students to think about getting experience so that they can develop these skills or a skill set. And so when I'm working with our students from a faculty perspective, I'm encouraging them to look at their written communication skills, their verbal skills, the
Hmm.
presentation skills. Um, when you look at what employers are looking for, oftentimes it's the communication skills that are near the top of that list. And so, I think these types of experiential learning opportunities allow students to identify those skills and then develop them over
Mhm.
time. And so, I would advise students to think about the first year in particular about a time to explore and
Mhm.
then to build on those skills over the 4 years that they'll be with us here
Right.
at the
Hmm.
college.
That's excellent advice.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a first year student, if they want to start this exploration, start right in your classroom.
Mm,
Mhm.
So you mentioned the projects that you're doing. So those class assignments that you get that are
Mhm.
bigger projects, you're given those projects so that you can build these skills.
Mhm.
Research skills, you're going to need a lot of different careers require research skills,
Mhm.
those writing skills, and working with other people. So you will get assignments where you have to work in a group with other
Yeah.
classmates, and those are always fun.
Yes.
right.
You know,
My
but
students love those.
yeah.
And there's an art to choosing
Hmm.
your peers, right?
Yes.
Or
Hmm.
Yeah.
being put in a group maybe where you don't have the autonomy to choose as well.
Yes, and you learned how to work together, and you learned your own skills, and so many students discover leadership skills they didn't realize that they
Right.
had,
Indeed.
and there's different
Mhm.
types of leadership skills, and so it's a great experience, and again, an experience that you may not like, but you're gaining those skills, and I really can't think of a single type of job where you're not going to be working with people in some capacity. So you're gaining those skills in classrooms.
Mhm.
So for first year students to start with, in their classes and realize the skills building that they're getting in their classes through their assignments. And also to look to your peers and to look to others that you're meeting here at the university as part of your network. One of the great things about coming to the University of Minnesota, it's a huge institution, and that means that you're a part of a huge network. So to be a little intentional about who you're connecting with and how you're connecting with people, that is just absolutely invaluable. And for first year students to remember that you're not starting from zero. You already have a network.
Hmm.
You already know people, and people know you, and people are willing to help you as well. So to tap into the network that you already have, and to think about who it is that you want to meet, how you want to grow your network, and by meeting other people, that's going to bring you more opportunities to do these different experiential learning opportunities.
Right. And thinking about our first year experience class more broadly, that's a great place to connect with peers,
Hmm.
to connect more one on one with instructors as well, because that is a smaller community. Oh,
Yeah, I would just reiterate that point,
mm,
Nicole, is that you have a lot of resources, a lot of cheerleaders that are on your team already,
mm,
and I would just reiterate that faculty can
mm,
help. I
Yes.
think sometimes
yeah.
during the first year, students are a little hesitant or reticent to approach faculty about these issues.
Mm,
And I can't speak for all my faculty
yeah.
colleagues, but I welcome those questions
Hmm.
and those types of interactions around careers and career decision making. Denise also mentioned the role of academic advisors
Mhm,
and student support professionals within the college. We're here to support you as well. And then
mhm,
certainly the Career Center and the career staff.
Hmm.
Um, are also an invaluable resource. And so I guess my final plug would be to encourage and invite our students, especially during the first year,
mhm,
to use these resources.
Yes.
absolutely. So as we think more about the networking piece specifically, just to touch on that, we've talked a little bit about formal and informal networking, internal and external networking, ways we can use our community internally here at the U and connect with those resources. Um, what other types of strategies or support might you suggest to students who might be feeling nervous even about that, about
Mhm.
about
Hmm.
stepping out and asking for that support or meeting with folks that
Hmm.
are part of their network?
Yeah, and networking is a big, scary word. I don't even
Mhm.
like to use the word networking.
Yeah,
I talk about making connections because that's what
yeah,
networking is. It's about making connections. So,
mm,
often when people think about networking, they think about going someplace and shaking hands with
yeah,
strangers and introducing yourself over and over again. Networking is not the introduction. Networking is the relationship. It's relationship building. So again, you already have a network.
mm,
You already have people who you know and who know you and who you're willing to support and who are willing to support
mhm,
you. So if you think about networking in terms of relationships, in terms of networking being a two-way street,
mm,
that you can provide support for others and they can provide support for you, and you can provide information for others as well. And so look into your network, and we talk in career services, we talk a lot about your inner ties and your outer ties.
mm,
So
Mm.
your inner ties are people who you know really well and who know and you know them. So if you look at your phone and you could just text somebody without saying your name, those are your inner
oh,
ties.
that's a good
Mm.
example.
Yeah. And then your outer ties are kind of people that you know who know somebody. So the parents of your classmates or your friends could be an outer tie. Um, a professor or a faculty member that you don't know very well might be an outer tie.
Mm,
And so thinking about those outer ties and how you can get to know them better and they can get to know you better, because you never know, like if you want an internship working for the Minnesota Twins, you never know that you might know somebody who works in the front office of the
right.
Minnesota Twins. And so for you to be in relationship
Mm,
with many different people, and when those opportunities come up, they're going to keep you in mind.
excellent. So focusing on connections and relationships
Yes,
rather than that formality piece.
exactly.
Awesome.
I would just add, I think the terminology is a little bit different, but there's the weak ties and
Hmm.
there's strength in weak ties. And
Mhm,
oftentimes our best connections or the ones that lead to the best opportunities are going just beyond our immediate core, like the inner
Absolutely.
ties, right? And so there's some values
mhm,
of pushing yourself a little bit to make those connections with just outside of your inner ring, because there's strength in those weak ties that can
Absolutely.
lead to new opportunities. And I think networking is a scary term.
Mhm.
Denise, I don't like to use it as well. I think sometimes students are anxious about that, or maybe
Yeah.
they see themselves as maybe more introverted. And I think if we shift that a little
Mhm.
bit and talk about the relationship building,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that takes some of the pressure off.
Mhm.
I know some of us have young kids in our own household, and I've got
Mhm.
2 teenagers, and I'm just encouraging them to talk to other people,
Yes. Yes.
which seems
Mhm.
sometimes like a why should that be so challenging? But I think there is, some hesitancy around that.
Mhm.
And I think,
Mhm.
just challenging our students, especially during the first year, to start building those relationships, to start
Mhm.
practicing
Yeah.
talking to other professionals, talking to other students,
Mhm.
and talking to people that they don't
Right.
know. That's
Mhm.
a skill right there.
It
And
is.
so if students can begin to work on that during the first year, this idea of more formal networking will probably be less threatening as they
Right.
move
Absolutely.
forward.
That's
Yeah.
excellent
Yeah.
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, that concludes our time today. I appreciate you being here to answer these questions that our first year students have brought to us. We hope that we can offer more of these Fearless Career Connections with our CEHD community. So thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.